Dallas Cowboys will make history.
I guess there's only one thing left to do.
Speaking of making history, LeBron James has done that, but he is very frustrated right now after the Cavs' second straight loss on the road, losing to the Bucks in OT Saturday and to the Pistons last night. Shout out to Andre Drummond, by the way, from where? UConn.
Ballin'.
The defeat, exactly, brought Cleveland's record to 8-3, still good enough for the top spot in the East, but also not at the same level as the 12-0 Warriors. Here's LeBron after the game.
We haven't done anything. We didn't win anything. We lost. We lost in the finals, you know, so that's enough motivation for myself. And I think we need to understand that, like, we lost in the finals. We didn't win, you know, and the team that beat us looks more hungry than we are, you know, so it shouldn't be that way.
The Cavs are not as hungry as the defending champs. Stephen A., do you like that LeBron voiced that?
Absolutely. First of all, he has the authority, the cachet, the credentials, the knowledge. He puts in the work. He's a superstar in this league. He's religiously either the top or one of the top 2 players in the world, and he's a 2-time champion. He has earned the right to say that. More importantly, he's absolutely 1,000% correct. But it's a product of what you have available to you. Kevin Love, I don't care how decent he's looked, skipping, averaging 17 points a game this year. He's shooting what from the field? 40% from the field? I mean, he's got to do better than that. You got J.R. Smith. He's up and down. We all know that. Mo Williams has been an asset to this franchise. Tristan Thompson missing training camp had something to do with the level of cohesiveness that they're still trying to capture. And again, you have to look at it from the perspective that the Eastern Conference is not as challenging as the West, and they know it. And so taking all of those things into consideration, along with the fact that it's an 82-game marathon, there are guys that simply don't put in the work that LeBron James puts in, so he has the right to say that. If you talk to people who know LeBron, if you talk to LeBron from time to time, Skip, his home is like, I mean, the gym is like the gym at an arena. You know, everything that he could possibly need, he has. This dude is consistently and religiously working out to keep himself in peak condition and to be about the business of being able to go for it. And what he's basically saying is that other guys need to step up. He had 30 last night. You know, Kevin Love had his 19. J.R. Smith and Mo Williams had their 15 points. But he can tell. He's been around long enough to be able to tell when there's a level of urgency. And in fairness, and the other big point I'd like to make, Skip, is this. When Cleveland lost the finals, they had the excuse that Kevin Love was out and Kyrie Irving was not healthy. So it's not just the public who believes they would have won the chip. It's the Cavaliers. LeBron has been around long enough to know not to take that for granted. The rest of them don't. The flip side is Golden State, as champions, have been fending off skepticism about their fraudulency or their legitimacy since they won the title, which is why Steph Curry and those boys have a chip on their shoulders, and they're playing like it, and the Cleveland Cavaliers are the ones trying to walk around like they won something, and they did not. So for LeBron to point that out, I think that's a beautiful thing because it highlights what he's seeing from his teammates. And we know he doesn't see it that way because he can't afford to see it that way because champion or no champion, everybody's coming at him every night. But they're not coming at the rest of the players like that.
I did not think the timing of this was a beautiful thing. I was surprised LeBron picked this spot to take that shot at his teammates because he did not include himself in the blast. He was pointing fingers at the rest of his teammates without naming names. I assume Kevin Love was maybe at the top of the list. I'm going to say this again. Kevin Love is not capable of living up to what LeBron expects of him. He is what he is. They overpaid him. I told you, I've been on record. I'm not being a hypocrite about this. He is what he is not in the end. He's not that guy. He's not a fourth quarter guy. And if you're going to lean on him,
not a $100 million guy.
He's not a guy. Come on. So you can't expect that from him. Now, to be fair, there's no Kyrie right now, and there's no Shumpert. And those are two huge key pieces to this puzzle,
starting
right?
backcourt.
Okay, it is. So let's keep it in some perspective. But I was surprised LeBron picked this spot because LeBron wasn't great in the fourth quarter last night. I told you the last game we talked about, he was great in the fourth quarter. He chose last night to play all 12 minutes, which is unusual, wouldn't you say? Yes. All 12 minutes of the fourth quarter. He played 40 for the game. And didn't we hear before the season, I want to go with the Pop model, the Popovich model, right? I want to keep my minutes to maybe 30-ish or so like the Spurs do. So he plays 40 minutes. He plays the whole fourth quarter, and he scores 5 points in the fourth quarter, including one completely uncontested layup with 16 seconds left. So really just 3 other points besides that. He missed another key free throw. He's shooting 62% from the free throw line. That's pathetic. I got to tell you, so you got to point a finger at yourself so far. I know it's early, but 62% from the free throw line. And for that matter, he's not a three-point shooter. We know that, but 31% from 3 is hurting his team. Bless you.
Thank you.
33 free throws he's missed already this year. So I'm looking at his fourth quarter. He had 2 late turnovers. It looked like the game was about to slip away anyway, but he had 2 chances late, and they're double teaming. I get that. One was on an inbounds pass very late, but he turned the ball over. So he didn't have a good fourth quarter. Big deal. But why would you then pick that moment after that game to say, we're not hungry enough, we don't want it as much as Golden State does? Well, we often see that the loser of a finals or the loser of a Super Bowl, as we're seeing with Seattle, that you have a hard time. You have a hard time dredging it back up because you were so close, then they got bad breaks, they lost players. So I don't really get the motivational blast at this point because I'm not sure it's fair right now to the remaining teammates.
Well, that depends on how you look at it. You might have a point if you're just looking at it on its face. If you're delving deeper and you surmise that what he's seeing from the rest of his teammates is an absence of urgency, thereby putting a heavier load on him than he wants to carry, then that's a different argument. Because, again, if you're going to point to the 12 minutes that he played and a lack of productivity, because they were minus 11 with him on the floor in the fourth quarter, okay, if you're going to point to the fact that he played those 12 minutes and you're going to point to the performance, why not also take a moment to point to why he may have felt the need to play those 12 minutes in the fourth quarter? Could it have been because he's looking at his troops and he's not seeing them address the challenge with the level of urgency that it deserves? Now, we know that Stan Van Gundy is coaching these Pistons. He's also the president of basketball operations. They elected to lose out on Greg Monroe, let him go to Milwaukee. They kept Andre Drummond, who is flat out balling. I mean, this dude's a walking double-double.
Reggie Jackson can play, too.
And Reggie Jackson can play. Reggie Jackson can play.
Game this season.
That's right. Those two, I like those two in Detroit. I think it's some of the better talent they've had in the last few years. I got a lot of respect for what I see them trying to do. But the flip side to it is that they're going to come at you, and if you're LeBron, you're going to look around at guys and say, how are you responding to this challenge? And why do I feel, you know, you might have elected to go there in the fourth quarter, but then you're going to turn around after that game is over, and you're going to say to yourself, why the hell did I feel the need to have to be in this game in the fourth quarter against the Detroit Pistons? If it were the San Antonio Spurs or Oklahoma City Thunder or Golden State Warriors or even the Clippers, fine. But the Detroit Pistons, I need to come and play the entire fourth quarter for us to have a chance to win this game.
I'm going to point this out. Quick point of order.
It's going to make you look at people.
Earlier in the fourth quarter, all the way to the 8:43 mark, LeBron had a 10-point lead in this game at Detroit.
That's right.
So even with him on the floor, given whatever he had left to give, all 12 minutes, they could not close that deal.
They could not close that deal. So he's culpable.
He is culpable. And when you say he has the authority, the cachet, he didn't have it off last night's fourth quarter. That's why I was surprised at the opportunity that he chose to make that statement. When
it tells me, and I'm saying to you, it tells me he's seeing something we may not be seeing from his teammates.
Well, I think it's aimed mostly at Kevin Love. That's what I think. But hasn't Kevin Love been the thorn in LeBron's side since last year? Well, hasn't he continues to look for something in Kevin Love that's not there?
I think it's fair to say that because you gave Kevin Love $100 million.
Yeah.
These guys know how to count. And at the end of the day, if you're getting paid that money, I need more from you than 17 points or 19 points. I need more than an average performance from you. I actually need you to do something to the point where I don't need to do much because you got this from time to time, so I don't have to take it.
Okay. And last quick point about Golden State, which LeBron does not point out. Golden State got a great break during this offseason. They had a media-made chip placed on their shoulder because nobody gave them much respect. It was lucky that they got through, and I was right there with them. I think there was a lot of luck involved in their championship run last year. Then nobody gave Steph any real recognition as a MVP candidate, including us. And all of a sudden, they were able to go into game one saying, really? Watch this.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That's true. I just, listen, Golden State is at a decided advantage in that regard. And even though we're sitting here talking about luck, I'm not so sure it's about luck. It's got to be something more than that. I don't know because I've been too busy doing other things, and I haven't.
I know.
So I have not taken the time to call, even though I just left Cleveland. That was on personal business. I haven't been to the Cleveland Cavaliers in more than a week or so. Digging my nose into what's going on. But I don't think it's just about love. I think even with Kyrie not there, I think some stuff is weighing on LeBron. I think that he's seeing that the organization, he might be thinking the organization could do things a little bit differently. That Kyrie, he's worried about Kyrie. He's looking at a guy like JR, questioning your level of discipline.
I would agree.
All of that stuff is going on. It could be anything right now. I simply don't know. But I don't think it's just love.
Speaking of the NBA, we have breaking news. Yahoo Sports is reporting that the Rockets have fired Kevin McHale.
Wow.
We will react to that. The news out of Houston later in the show.
I just said it to Skip yesterday.
You did.
Yeah.
You're certainly up on everything. Yes. The Packers haven't been the same this season without Jordy Nelson, and Chris Carter will explain why after the break. And it is hump day, and we're here to help you get through it with plenty of hot topics from Stephen A. and Skip that will hit our desk. Don't miss a beat by checking out our complete rundown, which you can find on IG right now. Back in a few.